Have you ever felt like the battle you're in isn't just physical, but deeply spiritual? What if I told you that heaven has already declared your victory and everything you're going through right now is part of a greater plan? Welcome to the chosen path, where we uncover divine truths, decode spiritual signs, and walk boldly into our destiny. This isn't just another video, this is a prophetic confirmation, a reminder that you are not lost, not forgotten, and absolutely not average. You are chosen, and today you'll discover exactly what that means. Stay with me until the end. What you're about to hear will not only confirm what you've been sensing, it will shift how you walk from this day forward. You thought you were still fighting, but in the spiritual realm, the war is already over. Heaven doesn't operate on human clocks. While you're still waiting for the breakthrough, God has already signed the scroll. The victory is not pending, it's proclaimed, and not just quietly, but loudly in the unseen. Every sleepless night, every tear, every moment you felt overlooked, it was all recorded. Not 1 second of your suffering went unnoticed, and when the time was right, heaven responded not with a whisper, but with a royal announcement. You didn't beg for a miracle. You were chosen to carry one. The battle you thought would consume you was only a test to confirm what was already written about you. You weren't being punished. You were being positioned. When the storm came, it came to distract you from what had already been decided. You win. Victory doesn't always feel like celebration. Sometimes it feels like exhaustion. But don't confuse fatigue with failure. You may feel tired, but you're already triumphant. The enemy knows it. That's why the attacks intensified, because it knew it lost the moment heaven said, "It is done." This is your confirmation. You don't have to strive anymore. You don't have to prove anything. The courtroom of heaven already closed your case, the verdict, victory, and now all that's left is for you to walk in it. There were moments you begged for answers. You asked God why the heavens felt shut, why no signs, no movement, no breakthroughs. But what you didn't know was that the silence was never punishment. It was protection. Heaven was guarding you from voices, from distractions, from people who couldn't go where you're headed. Sometimes God hides his chosen ones, not because they're not ready, but because others aren't. Had he revealed you too soon, the attacks would have buried you. So instead, he covered you in silence, like a seed hidden beneath the soil. It looked like nothing was happening, but underground, you were becoming unstoppable. The silence also trained your ear to hear his whisper. When no one else was speaking life into you, you had to dig deep and listen, not to the noise around you, but the still small voice inside you. And that's where you became dangerous, because you learned to move without applause. You may have felt abandoned, but you were actually surrounded. Angels walked with you. Doors stayed shut because they weren't meant for you. People disappeared because they were never equipped to carry your crown. The silence stripped you of everything fake and left only what was divine. And now that the silence is lifting, you're not coming out as the same person. You're emerging sharper, stronger, and spiritually awake. Heaven didn't go quiet on you. It was building you. And now, when you speak, your voice will shake realms. You didn't post about your pain. You didn't seek sympathy. Instead, you remained silent in your struggle and obedient in your assignment. And that obedience, hidden from the world, was thunderous in the spirit realm. Heaven doesn't reward performance. It rewards alignment. And you stayed aligned even when it cost you everything. There were moments when turning back would have been easier. Compromising would have felt justified. But something in your spirit said, hold on. You obeyed when it didn't make sense. You followed the path without seeing the map. That's what separates the chosen from the called. You didn't just hear, you obeyed. Every time you forgave instead of retaliating, you rose. Every time you served while bleeding, you shifted dimensions. What others saw as weakness, heaven recorded as warfare. Your worship in the wilderness was your greatest weapon. It didn't feel powerful, but it was prophecy in motion. You see, heaven doesn't bless the loudest. It blesses the loyal, and you've proven that your loyalty wasn't conditional. Now that hidden faithfulness is being honored. Doors are opening, not because you forced them, but because your posture moved angels. Your reward is not random, it's a response. A response to every quiet yes you whispered when no one was watching. That's why you're rising now. Not because you chased elevation, but because you endured refinement. And now, the heavens are releasing what's been waiting on the other side of your obedience. You thought you were behind. You looked at others passing by and felt forgotten. But the delay wasn't denial. It was divine orchestration. While you waited, heaven wasn't just preparing your blessing. It was preparing you to carry it. God doesn't give heavy mantles to shallow vessels. The longer you waited, the deeper your roots grew. And now that your time has come, you won't be shaken like those who rose overnight. You are anchored. The delay built character, discernment, spiritual awareness, and now you can stand in places others would collapse. Had you received it earlier, you might have ruined it. The delay was your protection against premature exposure. God was making sure your gift wouldn't destroy you, and that the stage wouldn't suffocate you. Sometimes He holds back not to hurt you, but to preserve you. You didn't lose time. You were gaining depth. The process humbled you. It stripped your ego. It forced you to listen, to discern, to trust. That's why when you step into your season now, it won't feel rushed. It will feel right, like destiny catching up to your spirit. And now the setup is complete. The delay was just the preparation room. The curtains are opening. Your name is being spoken. And what looked like pause was really positioning. Welcome to the divine unveiling. It was always yours, just not before you were ready. Those who mocked you in the valley are now watching you rise to the mountaintop. God didn't just prepare a table for you. He made sure your enemies were seated front row, not for revenge, but for revelation. They needed to see what happens when a chosen one refuses to fold. They laughed when you were losing. They whispered when you were breaking, but heaven was never blind to their words. The ones who tried to bury you are now watching the harvest from the seed they tried to kill. You don't need to prove anything. Your elevation speaks louder than their opinions. This victory isn't just for you. It's a message, a divine reminder that no weapon formed against you ever had a chance, not because of your strength, but because of your assignment. You were marked, protected, and preserved for this moment of public vindication. Some walked away thinking your story ended in failure, but God was only beginning. The silence was never surrender. It was strategy. And now that you've been revealed, those who doubted will have no choice but to recognize the hand of heaven on your life. Let it be known, this victory was never about ego, it's about evidence. Evidence that when God says yes, no human agenda can say no. Your enemies didn't lose to you, they lost to the anointing. And they saw it happen with their own eyes. It felt like rejection, the closed doors, the sudden goodbyes, the constant delays. But what you called abandonment was actually refinement. God was stripping you, not to harm you, but to heal you. The fire wasn't sent to burn you, it was sent to reveal the gold inside. You were never being overlooked, you were being recalibrated. The pain was precise, the isolation was intentional. Heaven wasn't ignoring you, it was refining you into someone who could carry more, withstand more, and impact more than you ever imagined. Rejection redirected you to the right people, right places, and right purpose. If those doors had opened, you would have settled. If those people had stayed, you would have compromised. What looked like loss was actually protection dressed in silence. Refinement breaks what's fake and strengthens what's divine. Every time something or someone walked away, a new layer of strength emerged in you. And now, the refined version of you is walking into rooms that the old you would have been crushed by. You haven't been reduced. You've been upgraded. The process didn't take your value, it revealed it. You didn't lose anything that was meant to stay. What remains after the refining fire is the real you. Unshaken, unstoppable, and crowned with purpose. The storm wasn't punishment, it was camouflage. While it raged around you, God was hiding you in plain sight. The chaos wasn't there to crush you. It was heaven's way of saying, not yet. They're not ready to be revealed. And in that hidden place, something divine was taking root. Others saw you as lost, confused, even forgotten. But what they couldn't see was the strategy within the storm. God didn't need them to understand your process. He needed them to overlook you so he could build you in peace. The noise outside kept them distracted, while heaven went to work on you. You learned how to breathe in the middle of spiritual pressure. You grew in silence. You strengthened your discernment. While others panicked, you prayed, and now, you're not coming out as a victim of the storm, you're emerging as master over it. That storm was never random. It was a divine delay disguised as chaos. Every setback, every confusion, every unexpected turn, it was all divinely timed to protect your rise. What the enemy meant for harm became your spiritual fortress. Now, as the clouds part, you're not stepping out bruised. You're stepping out branded. The storm didn't leave you weak. It crowned you with wisdom. And everyone who doubted you during the downpour will have to reckon with the fire you carry now. In the spiritual realm, scrolls represent destiny, sealed until the appointed time. And now, chosen one, your scroll has been unsealed. What was hidden is now released. The heavens have declared your time. You're not waiting anymore. You've been called forth. This isn't a random shift, it's a divine unveiling. The scroll with your name on it has been read before angels. Your mission, your mantle, your movement, it's all been activated. What was once blocked is now bursting open. You've stepped into alignment and heaven is responding with acceleration. The delay wasn't denial. The silence wasn't rejection. It was all part of this moment. The moment where the script of your life flips into a new chapter. And in this chapter, you're not chasing. You're commanding. Not hoping. You're walking in prophecy. When heaven unseals a scroll, the earth must respond. That's why doors are opening. That's why people are being repositioned. That's why you feel the shift. You didn't force this moment. You were summoned to it. And now that the scroll is open, there's no going back. This is your confirmation. The scroll is no longer sealed. Your time is no longer someday. It's now. And nothing can stop what God has already released in your name. Your scroll has spoken. Walk boldly into what is already yours. For every sleepless night, for every hidden tear, for every door slammed in your face, heaven kept the receipts. And now the compensation is not just coming, it's overflowing. You thought you lost too much, but in truth you were only making space for something greater. God doesn't just restore, He multiplies. You didn't complain even when life seemed unfair. You didn't quit, even when it felt like the pain would never end. That endurance has been recorded. Your name was written on blessings that required time to mature. And now they're being released, not as random miracles, but as divine justice. What was stolen from you, peace, opportunities, relationships, is returning in a form far greater than what was taken. You're not getting back the same thing. You're receiving heaven's version, refined, elevated, eternal. This is not payback, this is payoff. The enemy thought delay would discourage you, but all it did was increase your hunger and sharpen your spirit. Now, when the blessing arrives, you'll carry it with wisdom, not ego. You'll protect it with reverence, not fear, because you earned this through obedience in the shadows. Let the world know, this is not luck, this is alignment. And when God compensates His chosen ones, it's never partial. It's pressed down, shaken together, and running over. You didn't lose time. You sowed it. And now, the harvest has begun. You thought the battle was the end, but it was only the gate. What looked like a finale was actually the foundation. Now that you've crossed over, you're not going back to survival mode. You're stepping into divine dominion. This isn't the reward. This is the release. You were trained in private to walk in authority in public. You were broken in silence so you could build in power. Every scar, every lesson, every quiet moment of resilience prepared you for what begins now. And make no mistake, This is a beginning, not a finish line. The favor you're about to walk in isn't just for your comfort, it's for your calling. People will look to you. Generations will be changed through you. You didn't just survive. You became a vessel, a portal, a lighthouse for those still in their storms. You won't have to force your way through doors anymore. They will open at your presence. You won't beg to be seen. You will become the light. God didn't bring you this far to rest. He brought you here to reign with wisdom, with purpose, with power. So stand tall, chosen one. The war is over. Your crown is real. But this is just the first step into a life marked by divine movement. Step forward not as a wounded warrior, but as a risen ruler. The journey begins now. And now you know. Your battle was never the end. It was the birthplace of your calling. Every storm, every silence, every moment you held on when everything told you to let go. It all led here. You weren't just surviving, you were becoming. The scroll has been unsealed, the crown has been placed, and the path ahead is clear. You are no longer waiting for a sign from heaven. This message was the sign. The chosen rise, not with noise, but with purpose. Before you go, I want to know, what spoke to your spirit today? Which part of this message felt like it was written just for you? Drop it in the comments below. Your testimony might be someone else's confirmation. And if you made it all the way to this moment, prove that you are walking the chosen path by writing exactly this in the comments: I am walking the chosen path. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, because this is just the beginning. The crown is yours. Now walk like it.